Hello and welcome back to another episode in the A.N.I series, where today we will be taking a look at the Search and Rescue Firefighter from the G.I. Joe Classified series. Now, I'd say this is a fairly interesting figure that we have our hands on, in that it's just a standard firefighter. Based on the actual look of the figure, I think it's just an overall representation of, again, a firefighter. I don't think any specific design or uniform, but I mean, when you think of a firefighter, I feel like this is a fairly accurate representation. So, with that out of the way, let's actually just take a look at the figure. Starting off at the head sculpt, as you can see, it's if I can zoom in. The actual printing on the face and the sculpt work is fairly nice, very clean. This isn't of any character in specific from G.I. Joe, but just again just a standard regular person. And getting a closer look at the paintwork on this little dial right over here is fairly clean. Nothing too crazy. We'll say there's a little bit of a paint bleed onto that belt, but it's not too noticeable from the front. And overall, the paint seems to be applied fairly well. You can see the print just being slightly misaligned there as it goes around. I will note that this highlighter yellow, highlighter green type color, it's one of the harder colors to print on a black plastic material, just due to the nature. It's the same when painting a model. It specifically have like a white or at least a lighter color tone before applying yellow. But for this figure, I'd say it came out fairly clean. Yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing too out of the ordinary. It is painted all the way around, that being the silver and the yellow, and all the other plastic coloring looks fine. Specifically the, I would say this is like a very light beige going on for the hands and the head covering. So yeah, I think with that out of the way, let's actually move on to see how well can he move. So, starting off with the head, there are of course two ball joints, one being at the upper head and one being on the lower neck, which will allow for a side to side. It's kind of hard to get the look of one. So here's just with the top ball joint. And with the bottom neck. So it works fine enough. From the side view, we can get him to look about that far down. A little resistance to the actual plastic. It's not giving enough give, and it's wanting to push back up. And you're not really getting too far of a down motion just due to the collar piece that's going around there. But you can get him to look fairly decent up. Onto the torso, there are a ball joint up here in the upper torso and a ball joint here, I think connected to the waist. So with that, you're able to get fairly good motion all around. And for a more specific angle, here it is in combination of both joints this far to the side, and the same on the other. And for an ab crunch that goes about, I'll move his arm, about that far, nothing too crazy. and bends back about that far. So it's not the most range, but I mean, it's definitely in there to where it's noticeable and fluid, if that makes sense. So to move on back up here at the shoulder, you do get a butterfly joint right over there, which will allow it to not get too far back and forth. And that's not even due to the hindrance of the actual strap there, it's just, yeah, it's not much. I guess it's just due to the actual cut, and, yeah, more so than the actual hindrance of the strap. How many times can I say strap? There is, of course, a disc for the arm, which will allow it to move about that far on both sides. You get a pretty decent range up there. And of course, you do get a full rotation, as all swivels do. You do get a bicep swivel, which can go all around. A double jointed elbow, which works fine enough. And will look about as well as you need it to, getting it about just more than 90. And of course you do get a hinge peg system for the hand, where you can angle it down that far, and you can angle it about up that far. And that goes the same for the other. Sometimes they will do different style of hinges where it's either going to go like back and forth in that manner, but these are the same for both. And sadly, you do not get any swappable hands, so these are the only hands you have to worry about. But actually, can you even pop them off? The answer is yes. I believe this should be just a standard peg from any other G.I. Joe, so if you wanted to switch it out, you can. Though there are not many characters that even have this beige hand. I think this is actually a unique sculpt for the figure. But moving back down, the belt / lower part of the uniform is a floating piece. So this will allow you to move the leg ever so slightly outward, but I think due to the nature of the sculpt, you're only getting about 90 out. And for a kickback, before really hitting the back piece here, and going on an angle as usual, you actually get slightly less than 90. And the overall joints on it feel pretty nice. There are no drop downs, which for me personally, I prefer. Not having drop downs, that is. And you do get a really, a really good spread for a split there. And actually, are these on a drop down? I can't tell. If there is, it's very subtle, but I'm pretty sure there isn't. So, if you fully if you know, just type that down in the comments and tell me. But I want to say there is not a drop down, just due to the amount of resistances. But wait, is there? Maybe there is. maybe there is just an ever so slight drop down. But if there is, yeah, you wouldn't notice it. You do, of course, get a thigh swivel. And taking a look at the sculpt work, there are a lot of buttons that aren't painted. So I wonder if you can paint those just to have the figure pop. So I might do that. Because there's no other paint work. Oh wait, there is slightly more paint work right here with the gray for the belt. Yeah, not too much paint. It's really, this figure is really relying on the molded plastic for its look, which it is nice in that you're not going to be scratching off paint, but I don't know, maybe just that tiny bit more would help this pop instead of all this black plastic. But moving on from that, you do get a double jointed knee, which works fairly nice. And of course, you do get the wrinkles in the sculpt. And it looks very, pretty natural. I mean, as natural as you can get that to look. Moving down onto the actual boot, you do get a calf, well not calf cut, you do get a cut right here where the boot meets the leggings. So you can rotate that 360 degrees. And you do get, of course, the hinge at the foot, which moves very nicely with that standard rocker from the Hasbro team. And most of their lines, that is, being G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends, etc., etc. And again, it is nice to have that swivel right up there, just to get those deep angles. And with that out of the way, I think that's about all his articulation. And again, he moves fairly nicely. Surprisingly so. Considering the fact of how bulky he actually is. So with that out of the way, let's actually move on to what he comes with. And I think the first accessory we should take a look at, holy, sometimes I can't speak, so I apologize. You do get the this oxygen tank, and it is molded and painted fairly nicely here. Here you can see breathable air, 300 bar, 4,350 psi, and that looks pretty good. A little fuzzy with the paint there, but nothing too crazy. And of course you do have this gap, and the reason you have this gap is it will plug right here. So if we just match that, it plugs in as so. And I think that looks pretty good. And now moving on, we do have a swappable head. So if you want to pick up two of these figures, you definitely can. And the question is this the same sculpt? I want to say no. It's ever so slightly different. So yeah, if you'd like to pick up two of these figures, you definitely could and have a decent pairing going on. And of course, the head swap will work just fine. Is that in all the way? There we go. Feel that is in. And I'd say that looks really good. Really good indeed. And of course, you do have some optional headgear for this figure. The first one being a set of goggles, which let's just test it out right now. And there we go. Looks very good. The paintwork again, pretty good. I'm assuming this is all casted in that clear plastic with the gray painting, but actually, let me take a closer look at this. I want to say that is the case. So just, I'd say just be careful though when putting them on and taking them off. You don't want to scratch off the paintwork. But yeah, you have that. And for some other head accessories, because he does come with quite a lot. You do get this Firefighter helmet with the number 609. I don't know if this is a reference to anything in specific. I don't think it is, but again, if you know, just comment down below. The actual paintwork on this helmet is fairly clean. I think this is gold. A little bit of gold paint here. and the yellow is painted on fairly nice, and you do get more continuation of that beige with this gray strapping. And I'd say the easiest method to put the actual helmet on is to just remove the head, and then you want to just slide it like this right through. So now you have the chin strap going on, and then you just want to pop that back in. Make sure you actually pop it in securely. And now we have a better looking Firefighter. Here we go. And yeah, that also looks fairly good. And for the last head accessory, you do get this, not a gas mask, it's a, oh man, I don't actually know what you call this. It's for the, it's for oxygen, just to help them breathe out. You know what, I'm gonna refer to it as gas mask, just because of the similarities. And the way you attach this is, actually, let's just pop this back. Ooh. Oop, dropping things. So we'll set that to the side right there. You want to first remove the head, which is, I'm struggling due to these gloves. And then you want to just slide that over top, like so. Make sure everything looks aligned. And then you just want to pop that right back in. And you want to take this wire right here and plug it right into his strapping right here, which is easier said than done. There we go. And there he is with that gas mask on. And of course, you can still turn the head, though again, just be careful with that wire. And the question is, can you have this gas mask while also wearing the helmet? And the answer is, of course. So, one more time now, we're just gonna pop off the head, and I think I just popped that off of the gas mask. Whoops. How the hell did I do that? Huh. Hold on here. I'm just gonna pop that off, and I'm just gonna be right back. Alright, I popped that back in, but now that's just ever so slightly loose. So I don't know if this is also intentional or not, but yeah, be careful. Make sure you unplug the hose before trying to remove it. But now that you have the head popped off, you can just take this, re-slide it back in, and just make sure everything is fully aligned to your liking. And again, be careful with the strap when you're popping the head back on. But now you just want to pop that into place. Oops. Re-plug in that tube and that portion right there. And there you have him all geared up. And again, the overall look of this figure is very nice. And I am debating on if I should just pick up another, just to have you know, two variants. You know, just due to the amount of accessories that he comes with, and the amount of possible looks you can make him look. Make him look. Is that even a sentence? I'm just gonna take it as a sentence. But the accessories do not stop there. So let's keep it moving. So next up, we do have 2 hand axes for double the chopping, and these should just slide into the hands fairly easy. I'm surprised they gave 2. As far as I know, you cannot store this anywhere on the figure, or at least there are no noticeable places. but you can give him 2. And for the most part, they stay in his hand pretty securely. Let me just shake him. There we go. Okay, yeah. Fairly securely. Doesn't feel it. So. But yeah. You can have that look going on. Of course, you don't just get these 2 small axes. You do get this larger one, which... Is the head size the same? No. It is, in fact, bigger. So, of course, just like with the other one, you can have that in his hand. No problem. But that's not all. You do also get this crowbar. So you have the 2 forks over here on this end, and this is all just on black plastic. Actually, I didn't even talk about this. As far as I can tell, this is one piece of plastic. I think it's... Yeah, I think this is actually molded in red plastic, with the handle being painted along with the axe head. And I think that goes for the other ones as well. But moving back onto this little crowbar, you do also get this whole wedge piece and this spike. And I believe this is specifically to open up doors and get into areas that are locked, which is nice. And of course, you just want to pop that in. It's going to be a little bit of a harder hold just because of how thin the handle is. So, you know, there's that. Probably a weapon you want to, not a weapon, but a tool. I forget, these are in fact all tools and not weapons, though can be improvised as weapons. But yeah, so you have that. You do also get this small hammer, just if you wanted him to feel like Thor. You just pop that in. Again, no problem, no issue. Same thing with the axes. Holds it pretty well. Again, you do not get any place to store these, sadly. But of course, with one small hammer, you do get one large hammer. And this is, again, bigger than the small one. So if I compare the heads on these, it is ever so slightly smaller. And this is a separate piece of plastic, as indicated by the handle being glued onto that second piece there. And same thing goes for the small one. And again, just like the other one, you can hold that fairly well. So not bad. And again, it still doesn't end here, as you do get, for me, the most impressive accessory, the Jaws of Life. And this is sculpted very nicely. You do get this rubber piece right over here for the hosing. And the overall paintwork is very nice, in this very nice orange color motif. And I think, yeah, so I'm assuming this is all just painted, this is all just gray plastic getting painted. You can see some right in there. And of course you do get the handle right here, and this movable handle for the secondary hand, and of course the jaws actually open. And very satisfyingly so. It's like a very soft ratchet, as you can tell by, actually, would you even call this a ratchet? It's more like a gear system. So if you move one, you move the other. And it's got enough grip, I would say, to not feel loose, but feel very satisfying. And of course, just to attach that, you want to pop it into his hand, like so. Just grab the secondary hand and struggle to fit his hand on the other handle. You shouldn't have too much trouble doing this yourself. It's more so I'm trying to do this while looking through a camera. And of course his thumb isn't going around it. There we go. And with that, just be careful you don't stress out the hands doing that, but but with that, I'd say that looks really good. Like, I'm just really impressed with how this has turned out. But there is, again, one more accessory. And that accessory is this. And this thing being one of those fire safety blankets, which is just the piece of fabric material folded up, but looking really good. It seems like it's gonna retain its folded up state. I'm sure if you mess with it enough, it's going to lose it. Though, I think for me personally, while this is an interesting and definitely very dynamic accessory, I think I'm just gonna fold it back up and save it. Or I might just buy another one just to have it out, because it is interesting. I don't think he's gonna be using it. This is definitely gonna be good for photo taking, or if you want to set up displays, or to put it over on top of another figure and hide said figure. But with that is all we have for accessories, which is, again, quite the load full. Actually, you might even just store your accessories on this blanket and fold up the blanket and then lose all the accessories in the process. But with that being said, I think it's time we move on to comparisons. So, leaving him over there with the Jaws of Life, because why not? Let us move on to one of the first comparisons, and for me, one of the more interesting to see comparisons, being the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Lightspeed Blue, or in Super Sentai, the Go-Go 5 Ranger Blue. I don't think they had specific Ranger names in the Super Sentai, so I'm just going to refer to them as Go-Go Blue. And for me, this is a cool pairing, just because if you didn't know, in both Power Rangers and Super Sentai, the members are either firefighters or part of the police academy, and their whole motif was being heroes that would rescue civilians from dangerous and hazardous locations. Not too dissimilar from a firefighter. So having these two paired up, I think is very fitting. But with that out of the way, let's move on to an actual G.I. Joe comparison, being Grunt, one of my favorite releases that they did. And with that, they're about, Grunt is ever so slightly taller, but I think that's just due to the placing and the stance I have that Firefighter in. So they should be about the same height if you were to straighten them out, but I'm not going to because I'm a little bit lazy. But moving on from that, we also have the Valaverse Praetorian, which is standing just a bit taller, but do look good side by side. Definitely could come up with some cool poses using the Jaws of Life against that Praetorian. And moving on to something that's a little bit out of scale, the McFarlane Toys Superman from the Superman 2025 film. And of course, this is going to look really out of scale, if he can stand. Oh my, he was standing before. There we go. Yeah, so he's going to be standing just out of scale here. 7-inch, 6-inch. I feel like I've said that before, so I feel like you get the gist. And moving on to a Marvel release, that being the Maximum Series Spider-Man. And again, with every figure that this Firefighter is posed, I feel like he could fit into just about any collection, you know, discounting 7-inch scale. But yeah, he looks really good next to any figure. And last but not least, DSH Figure Arts Rice Shower. Who can stand? There we go. And yeah, I think that's about all the comparisons I can make at the moment. And let's just move right on down to final thoughts. And I have to say, just for I wouldn't call this a grunt release. It is part of the Legacy series, so I'm just going to call it a Legacy release. I think this is really interesting. It's very cool. You don't really see this too often, that being a highly articulated figure of a normal job. I know that one of their upcoming releases is a regular cop, which should definitely be interesting. Might pick up a couple of those, just due to the fact that this is just interesting to have. Yeah, I'm actually out of words to describe just how it's weird. It's just very cool to have in hand. So yeah, I think that's really all I can say about it. Huh? It's weird. Yeah. Yeah, no words. I'm actually yeah, very surprised. But the question is, should you get it? And I'd say, why not? Just, you know, get it. I feel like if you have a collection for G.I. Joe, it should be an easy purchase. If you want to display it with Marvel Legends, you definitely could. If you wanted to display it with your Super Sentai or Power Ranger collections, you definitely should. Yeah, I feel like it could fit for anything. It's just cool to have. Again, how many times am I gonna say this? It's just interesting to have this style of figure be released, and very tempted to pick up another, just because it is so fascinating, really. But yeah, he retails for somewhere between $30 to $35. He is, from what I understand, a deluxe release, as you can tell by all the accessories. I think my only nitpicks really are you don't have any real space to store those accessories. I know with the standard G.I. Joe releases, you get that little cardboard box and you can store them. So to see them not include something like that, not disappointing, just, I don't know, throw in a plastic bag or something, or a backpack that could hold it. Just, anything really. Just, I mean, it's already at a deluxe price point. I feel like you could just add, I don't know, another runner of plastic to throw in. But with that being said, yeah, what are your thoughts on the figure? Do you have it? Do you think I'm getting more? Do you even like it to begin with? Yeah. I think with that being said, if you'd like to see more content, you could definitely check out the HexHap channel, where me and a group of friends build and paint Warhammer miniatures. If you want to see some cool gaming clips, definitely check out Commissar Yoraki's channel. He just ended his first playthrough series, which I would highly recommend watching. It's a very underrated game, one that I never knew existed, so I checked that out. And yeah, again, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. And with that being said, I've been Amano in the Red, hoping to see you next time. Peace.